We sell a really wide variety of flower, pre-rolled joints. We sell a lot of edibles. So those are all forms that most people are probably familiar with. But then we also sell a lot of concentrates, which is something that I think particularly in states where there's not a lot of legal marijuana, or the marijuana that's legal is just medical and you have to have certain types of paperwork to go see it, you wouldn't necessarily be familiar with it. And that would be things that are basically distilled marijuana, for lack of a better term.
And are those recreational or medicinal?
Well, we're a recreational shop, but they were originally created primarily for medical use, given that they were trying to increase the effect without making it so somebody would have to consume quite so much. So that's the logic
increasing the
behind
potency by concentrating it.
Exactly, and it's the analogy of like beer to bourbon is exactly the right kind of analogy. Literally, it's a distillation type of process where you're using a solvent to pull the cannabinoids out of the marijuana, and then you get rid of the solvent, and what you have left is just the cannabinoids, the THC and other things.
Okay, so when you have that concentrate, that comes in which form?
It can come in a variety of forms, but essentially it's in a kind of solid cannabis, either ranging from something that's like a putty so that would be something like you were closing up. Yeah, exactly. Like that's kind of a putty type material, to something that is like an oil.
So when the putty material, are you rolling that up with buds in a joint, or you have to do that? You could,
but that isn't a terribly efficient way of doing that. What most people do with it is dab. So they're heating up a nail on a device that looks a lot like a bong. There's this thing that sticks out a little bit like a thumb. It looks like a thumbtack called the nail. They heat it up. They put a little bit of that material on it, and then they inhale on it just like they would on a bong. Often dab rigs also have water to filtration systems in them to cool the smoke. But it's a little bit like doing shots of espresso or shots of whiskey or something like that. Very intense effects.